From the Big Apple to the City of Angels. From the Big Easy to Beantown. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. How's it going, drivers?
Going good.
What's up?
Doing good.
Driver hour. This is
It's
driver
all
hour.
is good in the Dawson office.
Yeah, looking good from the Dawson office to Mike's office.
Driving the
Real
Dawson
good
office.
Florida.
Yeah. So
Kelly,
everybody,
get me a cup of coffee.
this week, Christian and Mike both had another obligation. So Ray is sitting in for Christian Sneed at the Dawson desk with his steering wheel in front of him. He's driving the Dawson desk. And Lee
Driving the
Harrison
Dawson
is sitting in Mike's office taking care of the Doty fleet. So thank you guys. And on the show this week, joining us, so like I said, Ray, Lee Harrison, Steve Connor, Jim Mackey, Kevin Lewis, Joel, and myself. We're all drivers. And then we've got Kumar, Ian, and Zach. So welcome, guys. This will be an interesting show.
Yo.
What's up, Ray?
All's good over here. It's surprisingly 100 degrees at the Dawson office.
Yeah, it's hot in Roanoke.
Not sure why that is. Really hot in Roanoke. It's 100 degrees here.
Yeah, how's it
Doesn't
going
make
at
any
the
sense.
How's it going at the Doty desk there, Lee? Is it hot down there in Florida?
It's a little hot, a little muggy.
Thermostat's on the wall.
Yeah, we can see the thermostat behind you on the wall. Just ask Kelly to turn the air up. Trucking news with Ian, Wide World of Sports with Joel Howle, Florida Man with guest host Lee Harrison, Ray, Lee Harrison, Steve Connor, Jim Mackey, and Kevin Lewis battle Kumar in Trucking Questions with Kumar. And then I'll give you a market update. And then any of our drivers that want to chime in, where they've been running, kind of revenue they've been making on their loads. That'll be great. And in Wide World of Sports, man, it's football. Football is back in full swing. We've had NCAA college football last weekend. It was great. Joel, how many games did you watch?
As many as I could.
2, and then he fell asleep.
No, I doubt it. He was texting me all day Saturday and Friday. And then
surprises.
Tomorrow night, we record on Wednesday, so everybody knows that tomorrow night kicks off the NFL season with the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One thing we're doing, guys, on the show, so we sent out a weekly pick'em contest to everybody that's a regular on the show. They picked each week. We're going to pick our winners, not against a line or anything. We're going to see, and we'll go over it next week on the show how everybody did. That's the weekly pick'em, and we can talk about some of that when we get with Joel. So with that, Joel, what's up, man? Let's go over some sports.
Wow, we're doing sports first
Yeah,
today.
let's do it.
All right.
Okay. Doing that in the last segment.
Start of the NFL
past
season.
few
It's exciting.
weeks. Yes, it is. We're talking some Major League Baseball and some football.
And roll tide.
Today.
Red football. Roll tide.
We'll get to that.
Clemson.
First things first, let's get to the Major League Baseball. With about 3.5 weeks left in the season, we got some really good races. Starting out in the American League East, we have Tampa Bay with a 10-game lead on the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, 4th and 5th respectively. That means 4th and 5th seed. Those two teams more than likely will come down to a one-game playoff to decide who goes on and who goes home. What a better rivalry than those two teams. Over in the Central, Chicago White Sox lead Cleveland. 3.5 weeks left. Call them Indians by 11. They'll be in the playoffs. Out west, Houston maintains a 6.5 game lead over Seattle. Seattle battling for that 6th spot. They're trying to knock Boston off. They're about 4 games back with 3.5 weeks to go. More on that later. Over in the National League East, Atlanta edging Philadelphia by 2.5 games. Still about 20 games to go. Those two teams will face off head-to-head, I think, 6 more times before September's over. We'll see what happens there. Second place isn't going to cut it in the East. They must win the division if they want to go on. Over in the Central, Milwaukee leads Cincinnati by 11. They'll be in. And out west, San Francisco holds a 1-game lead over the Dodgers. Those two teams are definitely in. One of them's going to be 4. One of them's going to be 1. We'll see about that later. And now over to football. To the NCAA. What we'll do is we'll go over the top 10. What happened this past weekend,
Joel,
starting off.
I got to ask you, did the ranking change from last week?
Yes, they did,
Okay.
and I'm going to go over that.
Yep.
So a little bit, let's talk some results. Last week, University of North Carolina Tar Heels went into Blacksburg and got their butts kicked. And Christian and the Dawson clan probably were in on that. Congratulations to the Hokies of Virginia Tech, 17, Tar Heels 10. We know who was running sprints and who was running to the water cooler. More on that later. Number 9, I'm sorry, I almost said North Dakota. That would be Notre Dame.
North Dakota.
The Fighting Irish, 41. FSU, 38. No shame for FSU. They were not even ranked, and they came in, well, they were at home, but they nearly knocked off the 9th-ranked team. Moving on, Cincinnati, 49.
Cincinnati's ranked number 8.
Cincinnati is ranked number 8.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even a fan, but, man, they got a good program.
Well, that was Miami of Ohio now, so stay tuned. It was 49-14. They did their job. Number 7, Iowa State University, 16. UNI, 10. Another team that was running to the water cooler. They'll be facing their neighbor, the Iowa Hawkeyes, this weekend. More on that. Bragging rights. Number 6, Texas A&M, 41. Kent State Golden Flashes. I got that wrong last week. Sorry, alumni. 10.
So did I.
They still managed to drop 10 on Texas A&M in Texas to the number 6 ranked team. Not too bad. Number 4. Well, number 5, Georgia, and number 3, Clemson played in the game of the week. If you bet the over, you were wrong. Georgia 10, Clemson 3. They moved up. Clemson dropped. More on that. Number 4, OSU. That's Ohio State, not Oklahoma. The Ohio State University, 45. Minnesota 31. That game was a lot closer than indicated. Number 2, Oklahoma,
Thanks,
40.
Zach.
What?
Kumar, my fellow Buckeyes here.
I
I threw out an OH. I get nothing back.
I lost by half
Zach
a point.
had my
Don't worry.
mic.
well, because you're clicking around on the keys over there.
Zach said roll tide.
OH roll
More on
tide.
that in a minute.
No.
Number
Well, I
2,
got
Oklahoma.
2 daughters in Texas A&M, so that's good.
40. Tulane
OH.
Green Waves.
IO.
If I was their coach, they'd still be running laps. Oklahoma hanging out at the water cooler. Tulane Green Waves. Good job. They nearly knocked off the number 2 team in the country. Sir Lincoln Riley and the boys are having fun this week. And finally, number 1, Alabama, 44. The U. That's Miami of
It's
Florida.
all about the U.
13. Alabama just being Alabama, well-oiled machine. They just reloaded and went in and took care of business. Now, coming up, week 2.
Lee can't stop smiling. Look at that.
Number 10, number 9, Iowa State University, Iowa Hawkeyes. This weekend for bragging rights, that's 10 versus 9. More on that. I'm picking Iowa. I really didn't see much from the Cyclones. Another team that's probably bear crawling right now as we speak. Number 8, Notre Dame. As I said, they were 9 last week. They moved up to 8. They'll take on Toledo this weekend. Cincinnati moved up number 7. They'll take on Murray State. Clemson dropped number 6. They'll take on South Carolina State. Number 5, Texas A&M moved up a slot. They'll take on Colorado in Denver this weekend.
Ray will be watching all these Saturday games on his floaty.
Number 4, Oklahoma Sooners dropped 2 spots. They'll take on Western Carolina. Number 3, Ohio State at home against the Oregon Ducks this weekend. The game of the week, or 2 touchdown favorite. Number 2, Georgia takes on the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And finally, Alabama takes on Mercer High School. No, I'm kidding. Mercer College, that is a private college in Macon, Georgia.
Oh, God, here we go
And I'll
again.
have you know they won their game last week. So, roll tide. All right, moving over to the NFL. Fans, the season is finally here. Tomorrow night, Cowboys at Tampa Bay.
So let's stop right there. Dallas Cowboys at Tampa Bay Thursday night. We got our picks in. Everybody's doing that. We'll go over it next week. But I'm just curious. Let's go, Joel. What do you think? No line, no
Straight up.
Straight up.
Tampa's going to win.
Tampa Bay.
But
What do you say, Lee?
They'll cover though.
Cowboys or Tampa
Tampa.
Bay? Tampa Bay. How about you, Kumar? He doesn't watch football. He watches.
I don't
MMA.
watch, but I'd be willing to guess at the Buccaneers with you.
Ray,
Go Devil Rays.
Dallas or Tampa
Where are my
Bay?
Cowboys?
I'm gonna go Cowboys too.
Straight
I
up.
think. I
Going
think.
Cowboys.
I think Dak Prescott, after getting injured last year,
He's gonna get injured again.
no, I think he is gonna come out on a tear, and they have a lot of talent on that team, and I'm going Dallas.
Tampa Bay bringing back
What do you
all
say,
22 starters.
Jim Mackey?
You know what? I don't really follow NFL that much.
Can you phone
But,
your mom because we know she does?
That's
Baseball.
That's baseball there.
She probably has a better idea than you, Jim. Though. Go ahead, Jim. Who do you think?
I'll follow what my brother says, but I haven't talked to him yet. But I'm thinking probably Dallas.
All right, 3 for Dallas. What do you say, Ian?
Well, I always go against my best judgment when it comes to sports, so I'm gonna have to. Well, I would like to go with Dallas Cowboys, but I'm gonna have to pick Tampa Ray.
And
Tampa
Ray.
Hooray.
Come on, man. Come on.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Ray Bays.
You know, my primo
what
has
about-
a good saying, right? If it ain't the Cowboys, it's a waste of electricity.
That's right. What about you, Kevin?
I'll go with the Cowboys.
Me, Ray, and Kevin on the Cowboy bandwagon. What about you, Steve Connor?
Where are they playing? In Tampa?
In Tampa, Super Bowl champs last year.
Yep, then I'd probably go with Tampa Bay.
All right, just curious.
Wait, they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Tom
definitely
Brady's on their team.
All right.
definitely pick
We'll
Ray.
go over the rest of these games, the notable games and stuff, after we have seen them play next week.
No, it's all right. I picked Tampa Bay too.
But oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot
ahead and
that.
completely skip
I completely skipped.
It's all right.
All right, Joel, go ahead. Let's talk some football, NFL football.
So we're just moving on with the schedule, right? Pittsburgh visiting Buffalo Sunday, 1 o'clock game, taking the Bills. Jets down in Carolina this weekend, 1 o'clock. That's Sam Darnold just got traded from there. I'm sure he has some sour grapes. Still taking the Panthers. Jacksonville at Houston. Some say that Houston may just run the table, and not the good way. Taking Jacksonville. Arizona at Tennessee. Taking the Titans. At home, LA Chargers at the Washington football team. That's a pick 'em. I'm going to go with the young quarterback. LA Chargers on the road. Philly at Atlanta. But neither one of those teams will make the playoffs. Taking the Falcons.
I'd take Falcons, yeah.
I took the Eagles.
Seattle at Indy.
Got to go with Seattle.
I'm going to go with us Hawks on this one. See what happens. Minnesota at Cincinnati. 1 o'clock game. That's a pick 'em. I'm going with the Vikings.
Go for
Ooh, I
Vikings.
went Bengals.
Yeah, I think I'm in Bengals too.
San Fran at the team that's been rebuilding since 1957, the Detroit Lions. I'm going with the 49ers. Game of the week, Cleveland Browns at Kansas City
Here
Chiefs.
we go, Brownies.
I'm
Here
taking
we
the
go.
upset. I think the Browns are going to win.
I do too.
I think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I picked. Too.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But,
I picked
Let's
This
ride.
is
Kansas
the
City.
year.
Let's ride, Joel.
Why'd you pick
Let's ride.
Kansas City?
all right, a few
Like
more.
Patrick Mahomes.
Miami at New England. I'm going with Mac Jones and the revamped New England Patriots.
I'm with you on that.
To beat the other Alabama quarterback. That's Tui. He's starting. Denver Broncos at New York Giants. I think the Giants have a lot of problems. I'm going with the Denver Broncos. Green Bay Packers in the Big Easy to take on the Saints. I don't even know if that stadium's going to be ready in time or where they're playing, but I'm going with the Pack.
I'm
And
going with the Pack. Cheeseheads.
on the late Sunday game, Chicago in L.A. to take on the Rams. I'm going with the hometown Rams.
And on that game, Joel, is who's starting for Chicago? Is Justin Fields starting? or-
No, Dalton is going to
So
start.
they're going to start.
Yeah,
Dalton.
for the first series, and they're going to put Fields in after that. No, maybe the quarter.
Yeah. He's coming in.
He'll
Bears
play.
fans are not having it. They don't want Dalton starting.
They don't want to go 0-1, but
Yeah.
I think they will, regardless. And Monday night, the opening Monday night season, Baltimore Ravens in Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Got to go with the
I go
nasty
Raiders.
Man, Raiders.
I'm with Ravens.
I go Raiders. Silver and
against
black.
Jackson.
Of course, I can't stand the Ravens, so.
All right, and there you have it.
There you
Week
have it.
one,
Week
NFL.
one coming
We'll
up.
compare next week and see how we did.
Gonna be cool. And we'll come up with a good prize for whoever wins this. You know, here at the Talkin Truckin show, we like to give away stuff, so we'll come up with
Giving
something.
it all away.
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna get to everything else, but I want to ask you drivers on the show. Everybody in the office knows this. We had an incident that happened Saturday night, and when we came in after the holiday Tuesday, I literally answered emails all day long. All I did was go back and forth, and I'm not going to say the broker's name, but I want to know what you guys think of this. So what happened was one of our drivers in a reefer went to pick up a load Saturday night at midnight. So midnight Saturday night going into Sunday. That was his appointment. He checked in 20 minutes early for an appointment. The place was shut down. No one was there. He waited 7 in the morning. He saw someone pull in. He checked in. He waited. He notified the broker. He notified me. I filled in for after hours over the holiday weekend, so Austin, our night dispatcher, could be off, and all our staff could be off. So Tina and I filled in. So I was involved in this too on the weekend. The broker was notified. There was nobody there. We gave him all the information so we could start detention. We stayed there all day Sunday. He finally got loaded. Good communication with the broker. 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. He gets loaded, and he's gone. 3 hours, a little over 3 hours later, 6 p.m. Sunday night, going into Labor Day was Monday. And we all know that. So our after hours, what we do on the weekend now is at 5 o'clock, our after hours for our fleet goes off duty. You're on, from 8 in the morning till 5 at night, Saturday and Sunday on the weekend. So at 5 o'clock, I finally turned my phone off. And, we had some things going on in our family, so I needed to concentrate on that. I didn't turn my phone off. I didn't look at any more dispatch emails. So 3.5 hours later, they email us asking if we would. They didn't specify. They just said, you probably should take the load back because we can't change your appointments now. Well, I didn't see that Labor Day. I didn't check my dispatch emails till Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning we get in. Driver's already there. He got there Monday. It was a 550-mile run. He got there Monday, and he checked in. None of us knew. They never called us because my phone was on. If they would have called, they saw my email signature, has my cell phone on it. They could have called the Deaton fleet after hours, press 1. It would have rolled to my phone. Nobody called. Tuesday morning we came in. I let them know, hey, they rejected the driver at the appointment or at the receiver. And they said, well, we told you to go back. And I said, I went back, looked at the emails. Ian, Zach, we were all involved looking at this. I said, so you're going to tell me at 3.5 hours after he was loaded, we notified you that he was loaded and rolling. You never got back with us. He was 200 miles down the road at that point, almost halfway there. And you're going to tell us that we need to go back. So now they're telling me in an email chain, and I was very professional and polite, but I did not bend. I said, so you're telling me that you want, and they offered to pay us $500 layover. So he drove 550 miles, and they wanted us to drive 550 miles back because they said they couldn't get an appointment. They didn't know when, maybe next week to deliver. I said, well, first of all, that's not going to happen. And I said, secondly, you have a couple choices here. You can try and get an appointment. You haven't told us that you've tried. You just said you don't think you can. Or you can find a cold storage near where the truck's at. We'll take it there. You can offload it, and you can have them redeliver. Or you can pay us to go back. Now, I'm going to tell you guys the rate on this load. It was $3,500 for 550 miles. That's a good load, right? Okay,
yeah.
But however, this is his weekend run over a holiday weekend. If we can't get them to pay, this is his whole week too, because he was home for a few days before that. If they don't pay, he's sitting with a $500 week that's layover, right? Literally, how many emails, Zach, Ian, How many emails were in there? I mean, if you had to guess,
it went from
all day.
8 in the morning to 4
60,
p.m.
70,
They
80.
they tried everything to get out of this. And this wasn't a broker with the name starts with a T and ends with an L. It wasn't them. They tried. Matter of fact, I told Zach
It's
today.
a shape.
I said I will never book a load with these people again. I didn't book it, but I will never book a load with these people again. And we've never had a problem in the past. I said I don't care if you guys do, but this just burnt me. And I said I would work with the T and the blank and the L first. But so finally, I'm negotiating now with their manager. I know this. We have a leg to stand on. Everything's documented. I told him, I said, look, and I know what the load paid. It paid really good. I said, look, here's the deal. He sat there for almost 18 hours, or whatever it was, trying to get loaded. We got detention. He drove 550 miles. Our trucks don't run for free. Fuel isn't free. And now you want me to go back, so you're talking almost 1,200 miles for $500. No way. We'll sit here today, and we're going to keep him on the clock. Finally, their boss got involved, and I said, look, here's what we will do. The cold storage wasn't an option, they said. I said, here's what we will do. For 1,000 more, that'll make it 45. I'll have him go back. That's 45 on 12. Pat, our driver, I'm not going to mention his name. He doesn't care, but 45 on 12, he gets to go back. I mean, to end the arguing, right? They still didn't do it. Finally, I mean, this went on till the end of the day. We ended up getting $4,000 on the round trip. I took it on 1,200 miles, $4,000. It was. I think we all decided. Patrick, our driver, decided this is better than sitting here for another day and fighting with them. But I was very clear. I said, we're not moving. They kept texting the driver, you need to. And while we're doing all this through email, they're texting him, you need to move now. You need to go back now. You need to get moving. I told him, radio silence. Let me handle this. Don't do anything. Don't respond to them. Let me handle it. And we had him tagged in the emails too. He was cracking up reading these email chains because I was not going to have it. So finally I said, I want a revised rate con at this point. I need the new stop added because I knew what they were going to try and do. Without a revised rate con, we weren't getting anything. So I said, before we move the truck, I want a revised rate con with another stop added. So I want pick up in Texas, deliver in Louisiana, and then the third stop is back to the shipper. And finally they sent it because they wanted him moving. And I told him I want an appointment at this shipper because I don't want to sit there for another 18 hours when we get back. So I need to know, I want an appointment. So we have a window of 0:30 to 8 in the morning. Driver made it there. That was on the rate con. We took that. We went with it. He got there at 20 minutes, 00:20, which is, just shortly after midnight. He sat there till 1500. And I was on him again about, I want detention. We documented the hours. What was funny was they came at us, and last night, I'm telling this story for a reason, because this is how shady some people can be and try and get out of paying you. Austin was on duty last night, but I was watching these emails because they blamed our driver for not downloading the tracking. On their rate con, it said, if you don't download the tracking, there's a 25% reduction in the rate. So about 8 o'clock last night, I see an email come across to our after hours. Can you give us an update on your driver's location? Well, I told Austin, don't do anything. Let me handle it if anything comes across on this. So I saw it. Immediately, I said, we downloaded, from the time we started on this, we've had tracking downloaded. So now I got that in an email that's documented. And I said, so how about this? Can you verify that your tracking on your end is working and we can compare? I need to confirm. And then shortly thereafter, they're like, our tracking is confirmed, sir! ! They hate me. I know they do. But then the beauty of it was now I got them on an email chain documenting that the tracking was confirmed. So I covered every possible base, everything. We checked in back at the shipper. I had Patrick immediately checked with their after hours at midnight, let him know, documented it, and then we sat there all day documenting his detention till we got in there. It was ridiculous, and it really consumed me all day yesterday. And at some points, it was funny, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't funny,
it was
but
all awful.
it was. But the
So,
whole
Russ,
point.
I have one question.
Well, the whole point, Jim, that they were trying every way to hem us up without documentation, so they didn't have to pay.
Right, I understand that. But now,
So go ahead.
my question for you is, on most all of these rate cons that we get, isn't the driver's name and phone number on these rate cons?
Yes.
Yes.
They never called him.
Why did they not call the driver and say, turn around and come back?
They didn't call him. They didn't call
sending
me.
an email?
No,
Well, that's exactly right.
they had an app where they can text the driver through whatever system that they use, and they told him before
texted you.
he got loaded, before they finished, they texted him and said, "Hey, I'll just go ahead and send over a truck you or not use. You are free to leave if you want."
They did do that.
Yeah,
We never saw that.
But then he said, "I'm loaded."
And
Well,
rolled.
they
And they
had
didn't say
said that
anything back.
hours after they told him to stay there.
It was hours after. Yeah. We documented everything.
Look at the timestamps.
Yeah, we did, and we never saw, like, first of all, when you get a signed rate con back from us, it says specifically, here's our after hours number, here's our whole office email that everybody sees. For anything after hours, we try and get them not to bother the driver, to go
Especially
through us.
texting the driver.
Especially texting a driver. How's he supposed to read a text through not his regular text? It's through a tracking app. He's not opening up their tracking app. Do you guys open
No,
their
I
tracking?
don't.
No, he didn't. He didn't get their text, and he was
It
already
sits in
gone.
the background.
Why
It
didn't
sits
they
in
get
the
a hold of us?
background.
Yeah.
And they didn't send us an email
If there
till
were the
200
T&L
miles
company-
away.
Yeah, if it were that T&L company, they'd have.
We would have had to file a claim on them
And-
because
and
they would have just fought us. And yeah, but no, it
Yeah.
wasn't them. It wasn't them, and it wasn't anybody we work regularly with. But I'm going to tell you what,
Yeah.
I was, I was just not. I was not having it. We did everything right. We showed up. We were on time. We documented everything. Why are you trying to cheat our driver out of his whole weekend? You're talking about thousands of dollars of revenue for the driver. And he would have just lost out.
I think you make a good point, Russ, about to all drivers about keeping good documentation.
Absolutely.
And I'll show you, I keep a notebook, and everything that I do, all the numbers, everything, I think it's safe for a driver to keep records that way so that it protects not only the fleet, but it protects you as a driver, so they can't say that they didn't know or you didn't know. So as a driver, to all the drivers listening, I think it's imperative that you take notes and keep notes of times you're there, times you leave, anything they say, because if you spout back to that person calling that, hey, this is the time I was there, this is what I did, well, they don't have a leg to stand on. So
That's right.
Yes, please always write your times on your bills, whether you need detention or not. It's always helpful.
Who you spoke to?
One thing that Ray has done for years, Ray's been with me for years, long before we became a Metal Arc agent. And one thing Ray's always done, I get these weird emails that I'm tagged in, the broker's tagged in. It'll be, hey, I'm loaded. So we don't get those check calls, those random ones on Ray, because whatever the broker is, he adds an email chain together between his dispatcher, our office, our dispatch, the broker, and himself, and he lets them know the status of his. He's not letting them know every day where he's at, but I'm loaded and I'm rolling. I'll advise if if there's going to be any changes, and then he'll let them know I'm in the door, I'm getting unloaded. Bam.
One other thing that some of our guys do, like Jim Mackey here, when he knows he needs to try and get detention or layover or whatever it may be, he is sending me a picture of the BOL as soon as he knows.
Yeah.
As soon as he has exactly what he needs, he's sending it to me so that I can get working on it right after that. So thank you, Jim. I wish more guys did it, but really appreciate it. It really makes our lives a little bit easier and makes the process a little quicker.
I know, Steve, you're really good about keeping details about your loads and stuff like that too. Ray, Lee, Kevin, you're all good at that. I wanted to bring this up because sometimes you don't see the other side of what happens in here. And, you know, I made sure that Patrick saw it. He was tagged in everything. And he wasn't even checking the email. He's just sitting there waiting at the receiver and waiting for us to tell him what's going to happen. And I told him a few hours into the day, he'd already been sitting there for 12, 15 hours. And we had talked. But I told him, hey, you're in these email chains. It's getting kind of comical how much they're trying to be shady. Go in and read the whole email chain. It's just me and them. And there's like 5 people from their office. And I'm just like, nope, 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 not happening, not moving. Nope, I'm not dispatching my driver. You know, it was just on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And thank God we had good documentation, because it would have totally went the other way.
Yeah, one of the other things that helps us out too is that for the most part, we're fairly tightly knit company where we're in constant communication with the office. You know, we go a little bit beyond just the dispatcher driver type of relationship. We're actually a little bit more than that. We've known each other so long, and the guys that are on our fleet.
You're breaking up, Ray.
Lee, you know, we're at that point, so.
Yeah.
No, I was just, yeah. Go ahead.
We heard most of what you said, yeah.
You broke up a little bit.
But it's okay. We got it. And Lee's fairly new with us this year. Lee came and joined us. But Lee, the first time he walked into the office, walked around here like he owned it, like he lived here, sat at my desk taking pictures. It was great. I enjoyed it. Matter of fact, we didn't even want him to leave. It was fun. We had a great time. He fit right in, and it goes right along with what you're saying, Ray. You know, some people there's just an instant fit. Sometimes it takes time, but you know, here we are. And Steve Connor, same way. Steve, you got to come in, sit down with me. I know you've been dispatched by Tom for 10 years, part of the Deaton fleet for the last couple of years, and you know, it was nice to sit down with you and just talk about the future. Lee and I and Steve Connor are all the same age, so we do talk about the future. You know, Steve and I and Lee and I have talked about it. You know, Steve has a 5-year plan, what he wants to do. You know, we're all about 49 years old. So, you know, it's just nice to have that constant communication and the trust level. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. And if you're a driver out there that you're not as close as Ray or Lee or Steve or, you know, Jim, it doesn't mean we're not fighting for you the same way. It doesn't mean you shouldn't document your stuff. Protect yourself, you know, protect yourself. And it gives us some ammo, something to go after them with. This was a big deal to me because I haven't had to fight this hard against a company that was totally trying to be shady. Even so much as to send that last email when they knew I wasn't on duty during the day. They tried to act like they weren't tracking him to get it on an email chain that they had to call or email Austin, our night dispatcher, to get a location update. I was like, no. Check your tracking. Let's verify that that's on your end. And they gave me a real smart answer with an exclamation point, confirmed, and you know, something like that. But at least now I had that lined up. And you know, part of it was aggravating all day, but at the end of the day, I walked around here like Rocky Balboa at the end of a winning fight because I was like, we won. You know, finally when we got that Raycon, I knew he was going to get paid at least $4,000 for 1,200 miles, 1,150 miles. And it was way better than getting gypped and getting short paid and getting nothing. And it was worth every email. It was worth the fight. And you don't always win, but when you have everything documented, we're not going to stop. We will file a claim on their bond. We will put them on for whatever I had to do to get whoever I had to get involved. I would, but it didn't come to that. We got it, and I was proud. It was exciting.
And you've used them before, right? And
I haven't too much, but we have, and a lot of metalwork agents do. And I'm not saying that anybody's that's why I'm not mentioning them. I'm not saying that anybody has to stop using them. That's not the case. They're an agent. You know, they have agents around the country. Maybe it was a bad office. I don't know. Yeah. But that'll be the last time they hear from me booking a load with them. It won't. I told somebody, I will push the truck before I haul a load with them. I'm just not going to do it. You know, you can't be that shady in this business. Come on, let's have a little bit of, decency. These drivers are human beings. They have families. They have paychecks they need to make, and I just couldn't stand for it. So it really rubbed me the wrong way.
Good job, Russ.
Yeah, good job, Russ.
Yeah. And Patrick was going to come on tonight, too, and talk about it, but he just got empty. And he's by the house. He was going home, and I didn't want to bother him. It was a rough few days
in that place.
So. Anyway,
Joel?
That's been the talk of the town here the yesterday and most of today. But we won, and I'm glad. So having said all that, thanks for letting me explain it.
Vent.
Yeah. So Ian Dunlap.
Hello.
Are you ready?
For what?
The news.
Let me look up a couple things real quick.
No commercial.
While he's doing, what are you doing that? Steve Connor, Kevin, I didn't really hear you guys, but what do you guys think of that? What happened?
I mean, I'm surprised you got what you got.
I was too, to be honest with you.
I mean,
trust me, it was a fight.
I think it was a good job, better than 500. I mean, that wouldn't even cover the skill, and I missed a lot of it because I was buttoning up. Got my paperwork, so I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, I'm not going to rehash it, but we did win. We got him $4,000 on the round trip, 1,200 miles.
I'm like Ray, and I keep documentation of all my stuff. I write it in a notebook. I've got 4 or 5 spiral notebooks. Yep. I've got all my rate cons, all my BOLs since the day I started here. So.
And Steve,
another thing that I did is I had my laptop, and every Raycon I get, I print wireless printer.
Yeah.
I print it and I put it in the notebook, so that way, I have it for my records. I can taxes and all.
Also, Tina in our office, she builds all the loads and dispatches you guys. She fights for detention. She does, she does a lot of things with the billing department at Meadowlark. Tries to make sure everything's billed out so you get paid on time. She harps on us in the office all the time, and she always, I think you guys see it when she's highlighting stuff on your Raycons or bringing it to your attention. Hey, did you see this? She reads every Raycon, every line, and she's told me so many times, Russ, you have no idea how many sneaky things companies put on those Raycons to get out of things. There's been so many times we've seen them where it says, if you don't contact our dispatch via email within, a half hour of being detained, forget about it, and it's in fine print somewhere. So that's important, really important.
All right, we'll go ahead and get into the news here. We always like to joke around and, have a good time. This is a little bit more serious news segment we have today. A lot of accidents this week out in the country. Want to go over a couple of them and see how serious they are. First one we had was on the Ohio-Indiana border this morning.
Crazy.
A truck ran straight into a scale house.
Do I need to come in, sir?
He did come in.
Fortunately, there was nobody in the scale house. Like I said, we're trying to be a little more serious.
Okay, wait, but he did come in. He brought his paperwork. He just brought everything else with him,
including the load.
When first responders first got on the scene today,
was he okay? I didn't know.
No, they actually couldn't find a victim at first. They had to go looking for him because he was ejected from the vehicle.
What? Wow, how fast was he going?
I don't know, but we can't see the front of the wreck in this picture, but obviously it was a major one. I mean, just to do that much damage to that building. I mean,
how do you go that fast into a scale house?
What I'm thinking is maybe
not in Indiana, your brakes don't go out as flat.
Yeah, maybe he just wasn't paying attention. It looks like this was very early in the morning. Maybe he just wasn't paying attention and fell asleep at the wheel and thought he was following the right path. Who knows? But,
and the door was open too.
Yeah, that was the funny thing we saw. We didn't understand how's it unless it popped open on impact, maybe.
Or they opened it to just verify there was nothing inside.
That could
it could be hazardous,
Yeah.
That was today though. That was today on the
I-74.
I-74,
Indiana Ohio line.
Correct.
You guys know where that's at? That scale house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not there anymore.
Where it was.
Well, it's definitely not open.
Half of it is.
What about the officers?
There was nobody inside the scale house at the time, fortunately.
So it was closed.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't. Yeah, he must have fell asleep or something.
It must have. So, very unfortunate. There's actually a few accidents today.
So I know you said he wasn't okay, and it's not a laughing matter. But
yeah.
Did he live? I mean,
no.
Oh,
He did die.
That's crazy. Wow.
This is another one. This happened today over in Huffman, Texas. Happened about 7 a.m. this morning on one of the farm roads out there.
Oh wow!
Or not quite a farm road, but the FM roads. What are those? Out in Texas?
Farm to market roads.
Okay. This is it. Happened back on one of those. I don't even see a truck here. I see a trailer.
What are we looking at?
We're looking at a trailer. The truck was hit by the train. This was another one that was just today. This was another driver fatality.
Where in Texas?
Huffman, Texas. Which pull up and see where that is.
And you know, when Ian was bringing up the news today, he brought up to Zach and I what he was going to go over. And at first, I was like, you know, I don't think we need to go here with. But Ian stood his ground. He said, "Hey, man, we need to know. People need to know that this happens, and safety needs to be brought out to the front." And I
brings awareness.
But yes, the driver of this one did die as well. And there's actually one more from today. There were 3 fatalities just today. This one was out in Atwater, California. Truck accident. I don't have the full details yet, but he hit a sand barrel, went on his side, was not wearing a seatbelt. And then there's just one more that I want to go over. This was on Monday out in Oregon. This actually involved a driver from Ohio. This was a 2-truck accident. One was heading one direction, one was heading the other direction on the highway. A flatbed had some I don't have all the details yet, but it appears that either the axle came apart on his trailer or he was hauling wheels, but 2 came loose, 2 smashed into another driver's cab, bounced over the highway and hit this driver and was instant fatality.
So that axle,
that's what they're saying.
All of them railroad axles.
No, this was like tires, like the axle, like on the
with tires on
with
so
the duals.
With the
So they said it was the dual tires. So,
wow.
Please check your trucks, know your vehicle. If not for your safety, for others, because this was a driver from Oregon who died from an irresponsible driver from Ohio. I know no one ever wants to really look at these and hear about it, but this was just Monday. There was 3 fatalities today. Please be careful out there. Please be careful.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of motorcycle accidents too. Like, it's a crazy time for accidents. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, definitely be careful.
I was actually reading about when I was looking up a lot of these accidents today. One of the accidents I came across was a motorcyclist that had hit a semi truck, and they of course perished as well. So a little bit more different news here. We'll move on to something else. Last week, Port of Los Angeles set a record for 44 container ships waiting to deliver. I counted today. There's about 47, 48. So it's continuing to rise. They cannot clear out those ports. There is just too much stuff coming in. People are getting ready for the holidays. I remember seeing an article a couple weeks ago saying if you need to order product for the holidays, do it now, because if you don't, you will be screwed.
So speaking of that, Steve Connor just picked up in SoCal. Mm-hmm. Steve, what did Tom get you from SoCal? I think you're going to Arkansas.
Yeah, I'll be picking up in the morning. He got me 6,300 going back to Arkansas, about 1,675 miles.
That's a good load.
So that's about halfway back. And then I got 61 coming out, but that's on top of the 1,800 that I got getting over to the shipper to come out.
Oh, yeah, I was involved in that. I sent you up there to our regular customer in Michigan, and then they used you for the day. Yeah, I think you ran
we
like
won't do that again.
I think he ran up there on like what was it, like 150 or 170 miles loaded for roughly $800, and then he said, and then they told us we'll pay him another $1,000, so it'd be $1,800 for just to get him up here while we're loading his trailer. Getting his load ready to run around.
They split it.
Did they wear
split
you
it
out?
600. Well, it wasn't that. I mean, it was good of them to give me the 1,800 that we would have got, but I looked at it later, and 1,800 on a one pick, one drop up there. You know, I would have been up there. I'd have used the same amount of fuel to get there, and I would have had the downtime having to wait for the trailer. But instead, I went and picked that up, and then they ran me all over the place the next day. So I burned an extra 3/8 tank of fuel, and then another like 8 or 9 hours off of my clock.
Well, lesson learned, and on me too, Steve, because you remember you and I got on the phone and talked, and I had a load for you that I hadn't booked yet, but it was 1,800 on like 300 miles getting you up there. And then, and then that's when I talked to them. They said, well, if we can match that, can we use him for the day up there? And I'm like, let me call Steve. And Steve's like, okay, I'll do it this time. Let's see how it goes. So,
well, I knew better because I used to run that one when they were trying to keep our trucks kind of local, $1,000 a day or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I knew kind of how they ran, and to build the driver company relationship, it wasn't bad per se. It didn't hurt me in any way,
right?
Other than the fact that I spent a little extra fuel. But yeah, it's not something that I would do on a regular basis for them.
Yeah, and no names. I mean, I know a few guys from up there that they're our friends. They're friends of the fleet. They're friends of a lot of us, and we do a lot of business with them, and we appreciate them. But yeah, that running out and running back all day is not for everybody. Some people don't mind
but
that.
I didn't mind taking care of them. They took care of us with the whole pandemic. They kept their rate the same where all these other brokers were dropping,
and especially
and stuff.
You got to give them credit, and I know you do, Steve, when SoCal's doing so well, and then for you and some other drivers to get there, they're still paying you $250 a mile when everybody else is posting loads for $150 or less to go to SoCal in a reefer, because they know it's good coming out. So they do still take care of us, and that's why Steve agreed to do it. He said, "Hey, I'm not going to do it all the time, but I'll help them out this time because they take care of us." So, well, thanks.
And they've actually upped their rates coming back this way. So, I mean, it kind of evened itself out. It was, like I said, if I would have been tight on hours or anything like that, it would have probably hurt, but I really wasn't. So,
all right, Ian, what do we got?
Oh yeah. Let me. I thought we were going to go ahead and get done with the news
because you were talking about the port and how it was. So
let me get back on here. All right.
Picking up freight from
So moving on from the port stuff, there's a quick picture of New Brunswick, New Jersey after Ida came through there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something else. Luckily, we didn't have any guys up there or anything that got interfered by the storm going through the Northeast. But yeah. And then last thing, Larry. Oh, actually, who is Mindy? Do you guys know about Storm Mindy?
No, tell us about it.
I don't either.
That just popped up?
Yeah, this just popped up.
Well, I did hear that there was a depression or something that was in the Gulf, but I didn't. That was this morning, and they didn't have a name, and I didn't see it on the radar.
So they're saying it could come across the start of the Panhandle there, and then into Georgia a little bit, and then towards the Atlantic. Hopefully that doesn't turn into anything. But the other one people are worried about is Larry. Probably going to smash Bermuda. But last couple weeks when I've put in what they say about the hurricanes, yes, the predictions, I've been totally wrong by the time the show comes out. So it's possible this could turn and head straight to New York City. We have no idea.
I didn't
comes with a
think
delay.
they know half the time.
Everything I'm seeing about Larry is supposed to turn and go north and not even bother us.
Hopefully.
There's another depression that's down there in the South Gulf by the Yucatan Peninsula, wherever that is down there, that they're looking at but saying probably won't develop.
Okay.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. And there is a new disturbance off of the west coast of Africa there, where these always start. So they're going to keep an eye on that one as well. By the time next week rolls around and we're doing the show again, we should know if this ended up becoming anything. So back to you, Russ.
Well, thanks, Ian. So before we get on to trucking questions with Kumar, I'm looking forward to it because we got a lot of drivers on here today. But there's a lot been going on in Florida, and we've got Lee sitting at the Doty desk down in the Port Charlotte area. I think that's where Mike lives. So, Lee, can you update us on Florida Man?
Well, I can. Hey, Mike, hold on. I got to talk. Get off my feet for a minute. So, before we talk about Florida Man, is it okay if I go over what I've done this week as far as mileage?
Yeah, what did Mike do to you?
Well, he rubbed my right foot first, and then he went on the left. So his office is great, by the way. So we started on the 3rd, 533 miles, $2,000 from Plainsfield, Indiana to Topeka, Kansas. Then from Topeka, I picked up again at Topeka to Newcomerstown, Pennsylvania. That was an 838-mile load for $2,300. And then I did a New Albany, Ohio to Carlisle, Pennsylvania, 372 miles for $1,827.22. And then the load I'm on now, 701 miles for $2,000 from Hanover, Pennsylvania to Rome, Georgia. So we had for a total, not quite 5 days, 2,443 miles. For $8,127.22, about $3.32 per mile loaded.
That's a nice week.
Very nice.
Mike put together for you.
He did.
I'll let everybody know behind the scenes, Ian and I really helped Mike put that together.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm only kidding, Mike. He's not going to know this till he sees the show Friday. But no.
Okay. Just so y'all know, I'm also from Florida. I'm from Fort Pierce, Florida. Across from where Mike lives.
That's why it's so fitting that you're going to handle Florida Man for Mike this week.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm a Florida man. So let's go. Florida man arrested for trying to throw an alligator on the roof of a cocktail bar. This Florida man stole an alligator from a miniature golf course, wrestled it, and threw it on the roof of a cocktail bar to teach it a lesson.
Well, we didn't hear the other side of the story.
Which was?
I don't know.
We'll
have to. We'll have to ask.
What the alligator?
Yeah. Dude, the crocodile.
Yeah, I guess so. Man says he tried to show off on a first date with a high-speed police chase. Clearwater PD arrested a 22-year-old motorcyclist after he ran a red light and sped away as officers tried to pull him over. So
this was his first date?
While his date was on the back of his motorcycle, he's running from the cops?
He wanted to...
What, you guys have never done that?
Show off.
Lee's chased a motorcycle before.
All right, number 3. Florida man
tells me they won't be dating any longer.
Go ahead, start over, Ray.
Ray, Florida man falls asleep in Wendy's drive-thru after 3 rum and cokes. A Delray man allegedly fell asleep in his car while in the Wendy's drive-thru at 865 North Federal Highway late Monday night. Police pulled him out of the car for questioning, and he stated that the driver had no idea what day it was or where he was at.
But he knows what he ordered.
This happened. That actually happened to me at a Taco Bell. Well, it didn't happen to me. The car in front of me, the guy had fallen asleep, and people had to go knock on his door, and he woke up and was like, "Oh, I better order." And I'm like, you better get out of here.
Did he get his Wendy's chili though?
Did they set Wendy's on fire?
This is an interesting one. Naked Florida woman drives her golf cart into a Florida standoff scene with an armed suspect.
This was yesterday.
I'm not armed.
I can just
Zach, wasn't that yesterday?
Break it up, boys. Break it up.
The naked Florida woman drives golf cart into the standoff. Was that yesterday? I think it was.
Like 2 days ago.
That was yesterday. Or the day before.
Talking about calming down the situation.
So what happened, Lee?
A tense standoff in Florida between authorities and an armed suspect became even more dangerous over the weekend when a drunk, naked 20-year-old woman from Boston suddenly drove into the crime scene on a golf cart.
So this is Boston, Florida woman.
Yeah,
What a combination.
Mindy Wahlberg.
Wow.
And the last one I have for you, this is unreal. A Florida man hospitalized after jumping into a Jaguar exhibit at the zoo. Wow. I guess he's a Jaguar fan.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. The Florida man was hospitalized due to injuries he sustained after sticking his arm into a Jaguar den at the Jacksonville Zoo. Witnesses say that the unidentified man, who is described as being in his late 20s, was taunting the big cats before jumping over the barrier at the Jaguar exhibit. A Jaguar then clawed the man's arms, leaving a trail of blood for the zoo crew to clean up. He was transported to the hospital.
He got arrested.
Wow, that's our Florida man report.
Did you guys hear about?
I live in the wrong state.
Yeah,
raise the San Antonio man.
Did you guys hear about the woman who she fell in love with the chimp, and the chimp fell in love with her as well, like through like she
the
would go
zookeeper or just
she wasn't she was just a customer. She would come in like every day and hang out with this chimp like through
the glass.
Yeah,
and they became attached.
And all the other chimps didn't like it.
That's really?
And so they basically outcast him and like would beat him up and stuff, and they had to tell her to not come anymore.
Where was this at?
Oh my god!
It's not in Florida, I don't think, but
it could be.
Yeah.
Let me
sounds like a Florida story.
Actually, sounds like something can happen in one of our Hispanic families.
While researching,
we don't like the girl. We just outcast the son.
While researching the news today, I actually came across a Florida news story as well. Florida woman accused of making bomb threat at airport after arriving too late to board flight.
That's usually what I do.
Yeah, like oh crap, I'm running behind.
On this plane, I'm gonna go.
I thought, right before we do this, I called Ray about this today because he's from San Antonio. This was shocking to me. I think we talked about it here in the office. Yeah. Real quick, I'm just going to read this to you. I was picking out the intro for our show today, and I decided to go with nicknames for major cities, right? Well, when I was looking for nicknames, I pulled up the top 10 largest cities by population in the United States, and I asked Zach. Well, first I asked Ian. He couldn't name them in order. I couldn't either. I would have got it wrong. We all know who the first one is. You know, that's my intro is the Big Apple. So just to give you an idea, because this really surprised me. New York, obviously, was first. Los Angeles, second. Chicago, third. Houston, Texas, fourth. Phoenix, Arizona, fifth. Philadelphia, PA, sixth. Somewhere in Texas, seventh. Has anybody got a guess?
The Big D.
Kumar?
Yeah, it's gotta be Dallas.
It's gotta be Lubbock, right?
Now, Steve, Connor, Kevin, what do you think? I've already said Houston. What's the next? The seventh largest city in the United States by population.
Second in Texas.
And Houston was, and it's second in Texas. Houston was 4. What do you guys think?
Dallas.
I mean, I would say Dallas.
Yeah. What
That's
do you
what
say,
we all
Steve?
thought.
What do you think?
I don't know. San Antonio's pretty packed.
San Antonio. I was blown away. I called Ray. I'm like, San Antonio's that big? I mean, I couldn't believe it. It's bigger, more populated than Dallas. Actually, San Antonio has a population of almost 1.6 million people. Dallas has a population of 1.4. Blew me away.
Wow. Recount.
And Ray mentioned on the phone, he said, do you remember when you and Tina flew to San Antonio? And he goes, you called me after you got off the plane, and you were saying, this was a few years ago, but he said, you remember saying how surprised you were when you saw San Antonio from the air? And I do remember that, but I just had no idea that they were the 7th largest populated city in America. That was pretty crazy. Anyway, San Diego is 8, Dallas is 9, and San Jose, California was 10.
Finally.
That was interesting. All right, guys. Trucking questions with Kumar. This week, it's Joel's turn to put in $20.
Wasn't it last week?
Well, it's your turn again.
Lee, can I have a loan?
So,
what Kevin
all
say?
right.
Trucking questions with Kumar. We've got Lee, Ray, Steve Connor. Jim Mackey's going to have to sit out on these, like 3 of these answers because he wrote 3 of the questions. Kevin Lewis, and we'll battle Kumar here. See who knows more about trucking.
I do.
All right.
He's ready.
Go ahead. Really? You got the first 3, right?
No, I gave them to you.
Gave them to me.
Yeah, earlier today.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, question 1. Kumar.
Yes, sir.
You truck driver, you. What is the proper tire inflation on your rig? Is it A, 35 pounds? Is it B, 65 pounds? C, 85 pounds? Or D, 105 pounds? We're talking about tire pressure.
And don't say the answer until we give our drivers a chance, Joel.
Joel. 65 pounds.
Is that your final answer, Kumar?
My final answer.
Kumar says 65 pounds. Lee, what do you say?
Which tire are we talking about?
All the tires on your, let's say, your bobtail. Well, how much pressure? Name the answers again.
Yeah, on your truck. 35, 65, 85, and 105. Probably your steer tires.
I'm going to say 85.
He says 85. Ray?
Well, because in my mind, because none of them are under 100, I'm going to go with 105.
105, Ray says. Jim Mackey.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Jim Mackey wrote this one. Never mind. Steve Connor.
105.
105. Kevin Lewis.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 105.
All right. And Jim Mackey, you want to tell him what the right answer is?
105.
105.
105 warm.
Yeah.
Kumar.
Can I say something about that, Lee?
Yeah, you can say
Kumar
something.
was going off.
But it's 1-0 drivers.
That's the important part.
Hey, I just want to say something to Lee about that 85 answer he gave. You know that the DOT considers anything under 80 pounds flat.
Yep.
Right.
I was just getting you all hard time.
You need to put some air in your tires, Lee.
Unless you're driving through sand.
Yes, yes. He's going off road.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great.
A 105 warm.
All right.
110 cold.
That's right.
Next one.
Question 2. What is the path called for your trailer when turning a corner? Ooh. Is it A? Is it skid steering? Is it B, drifting? Is it C, off tracking? Or is it D, Detroit leaning?
I'm going to go with off tracking.
Off tracking. You sure?
Yeah.
What do y'all say?
I think it's drifting.
Okay, Lee.
No clue.
Ray? Lee's like, why you got to make me answer first? Can't Jim go first? Or something? Ray?
It's off tracking.
Off tracking. Steve Connor?
Yes, off tracking.
And Kevin, you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree too.
Tie. So it's 1-1.
All right. 1-1.
Kumar got it.
Moving on. Yeah. Kumar. Who sang the 1940?
Wait a minute. They tied. So it's 2 questions right for our drivers.
No, why are you trying to?
1 for Kumar. So it's 2-1 drivers.
What?
Let's
We're
go.
changing the rules.
Let's ride.
No, it's 1-1.
Is it 1-1? Is that
Joel
the rules?
go?
Wait, what?
Okay.
Can't be changing the rules
right.
now.
They'll sort it out behind the scenes. Joel's paying the 20 either way.
It's 1-1.
25% chance. All right. Kumar, who sang the 1942 song Teddy Bear? It's a truck driving song. A, was it Red Sovine? Was it B, Fred Jones? Was it C, Loretta Lynn? Or was it D, Chris Christopherson?
Oh, man.
25%.
That classic song.
While he's thinking about that one.
Didn't you just hear that today?
Guys, what do you think? Since Christian and Mike weren't joining us tonight, do you think they should both throw 20 in, so that'd be 40 extra this week?
Yeah.
I agree. Let's put it on record on the show. So 20 to Mike, 20 Christian. That puts the pool up to 200, 220. Got it on my notes.
I think my boss should put 25 in.
Okay, so you put him out there. You're in the office. He's not in the office. You are. So we're at 225. Mike, what do you think about you're at the Dawson Fleet at the desk. Should he put 25, Ray?
Well, I think he's gonna probably have to lay off one of his employees, and then we have enough money dropping.
So we'll just make it 25 each on those guys, since you guys had to do the work for him this week. So that puts us up to 230, and they're adding the money this week. All right, go ahead, Joel.
What were those answers again?
I'm making an executive decision.
Bunch of loan sharks.
What were the answers again, Joel?
He lost the paper.
I lost the paper. Which question? Loretta Lynn, Red Sobine, Chris Christopherson.
The song Teddy Bear, old song, truck driving song. I remember.
Fred Jones.
Was it Red Sobine, Fred Jones, Loretta Lynn, or Chris?
Jim Mackey was 18 when the song was released.
He's got it on 45.
I'm going to say Red Sovine. That sounds like a name from that time.
What do you say, Jim Mackey?
Oh, he already knows.
He does know. He wrote the question.
He already wrote it.
All right.
He was in the studio.
Drivers, who wants to go first? Kevin? Steve Connor?
I don't know,
It's
so I'm going to go with Red Servine.
Me neither.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I'll say Fred Jones.
You sure it's not, Fred Jones from Scooby-Doo?
No, it's
It's Quincy Jones.
it's Red Sovine, and thank you for the questions, Jim.
Yeah.
Another tie.
All right.
No.
Is that 2-1?
Yeah, they got it right.
If he answers it right, it's always been he gets the point, nobody else does.
Okay, that's right. I'm
Shaggy's
trying,
gonna be
drivers.
the next one.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for my guys.
Shannon's right about you.
I'm pulling for my guys.
He wants me to lose.
All right. I do. I'm a driver. Stick with the drivers.
Put your tablet down. All right. Question 4, Kumar. What is floating a gear? Is it A, shifting gears in an N pattern? Is it B, shifting gears before proper RPMs? Is it C, shifting gears without skipping? Or is it D, shifting gears without clutching? Which one of these is floating a gear?
Without clutching, switching gears without clutching.
Well, how'd you know you're not a driver?
I might have told him about this before.
No, I drove manual for a while, and I seem to remember.
He floats his car.
Yeah. No, but for some reason I knew that. I don't even think Ian told me. Maybe he did.
That's the wrong answer. What do y'all say? No, I'm kidding.
The drivers know.
Automatic endorsement.
All right, nice try.
So now it's what, 3 to 1?
3 to 1.
All right, it's 3 to 1.
You guys are stupid.
He's answering first. That doesn't count.
That's what it is, ain't it? All right, question 5. Kumar, on the song "I've Been Everywhere," written originally in 1959 by Jeff Mack and performed by Johnny Cash.
This is Johnny
The
Cash.
opening line goes a little something like, "Well, I was toting my pack along the dusty Winnemuckaroo when along came a semi with a high canvas covered load. If you're going to Winnemucca with me you can ride." So I climbed into the cab and then I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand. I said, "Listen, man, I've traveled every road in this here land. Everywhere." Okay.
So what's the question?
Man. My question.
Are you just singing?
I'm home.
I didn't get that one.
Got a little carried away there.
All right.
That song.
So, Kumar, Russ wants me to sing every week.
Are you going to start naming off all the cities as
No, we're not. We don't have time for that. But
Can you name some wrestlers?
I do need to know. We are going back to that next week. Which scenario would have gotten this truck driver in the most trouble today? Was it A,
which scenario would
get this
trouble?
truck driver in the most trouble today? So, was it A, the lack of 3-point contact from his guest climbing into the cab? Was it B, failure to do a visual or security check on his Tarp load? Was it C, picking up a stranded hitchhiker? Or was it D, going down a route? Which one of these would have got you busted the most?
B.
B, failure. So failure to do your visual security check on your tarp load. Is that what you're going with?
Read the answers again. So we can.
No, one time's good.
Can you sing the song again? Failure with 3-point contact.
So Johnny Cash was hitchhiking.
Can you name the cities real quick?
So which would get you in the most trouble? Failure to do 3 points of contact while climbing in your cab. B, failing to do a visual check on a tarp load. If you're
so the load's already tarped.
Right.
It's your
so you're just checking it out.
It's a high-end canvas cover load in this here land. All right. Was it C, picking up a stranded hitchhiker, or was it D, going out of route?
What do you say, Ray? You did some flatbed.
I'm gonna say didn't check his load.
Okay.
What would get you in the most trouble?
What do you say, Lee?
I'm gonna go with Ray on this one.
So him and Ray and Lee, or Ray, Lee, and Kumar have all picked the same answer. B, not doing your visual inspection on your flatbed tarp load.
Every 100
What do you say, Jim Mackey?
Unauthorized passenger.
That's what I was gonna say. Never mind the complete stranger. I was literally about to say the same thing, Jim.
What was it?
The not having a authorized passenger phone.
Oh, okay, that's right.
If you see Johnny Cash walking around a dusty road in Nevada,
don't pick him up.
We got enough. I mean, but what do you guys think, Steve and Kevin? You go with Ray and Lee and Kumar, or you think Jim's right? For $50.
For $50?
I'm just kidding.
With Jim.
What'd you say, Steve?
I would go with Ray and Kumar, probably.
Oh, okay. What do you say, Kevin? You go with Jim, or you go with
Jim? I'm gonna go with Jim.
Jim is right. Kevin's with Jim, and he is right.
Lee, how do you have a CDL?
Really do a visual, you can't really do a visual.
Not every single one.
Alabama State Trooper.
Cracker Jack Black.
Because I don't care about it.
He's a dry van guy. He doesn't know what.
Poor stranded motorist on the side of the road.
He's not a flatbedder.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really do a visual inspection on a tarp load unless you take the tarp off. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you see those
you
straps are a little flappy, saggy.
Jim Mackey, Kevin, you're a flatbedder. Ray, you used to flatbed. Just real quick on that. So when I flatbedded years ago, and I didn't do it very long.
About a week.
No, I did it for like 8
2
months.
loads.
Yeah.
One pump load.
I remember that every 150 miles after you get loaded and you're secured, you got to do a securement check just because it loosens up sometimes when you're. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
everything settles.
So if you missed one of those, that might not get you in the most trouble. But if you pick up a hitchhiker without a passenger insurance policy on them and something happens, you got some splaining to do.
Did they have passenger policies back in those days?
I'm sure
they didn't have any policy.
No,
there was nothing.
Just had to.
We're talking about
play a guitar. That's all.
They didn't have logbooks back then. We're talking about today, Ray.
Well, they had logbooks.
Well, they
had 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah. All right.
I can remember. I was with my cousin. And this has been back in like 81, and I was driving got pulled into the Paducah scale wasn't even there in Kentucky. It was just a white spot.
Yeah.
I was driving and got pulled in for an inspection, and I never even got a ticket for it. I didn't even have a driver's license.
Wow.
It was a chauffeur's license, wasn't it, back then?
That's incredible.
Well, I didn't have any. I just had a car license.
That's incredible.
I will say this. So I think I've mentioned before, I didn't really grow up in a trucking family, but my one uncle, and I wasn't around. I was around him growing up all the time, but I wasn't at his yard a lot. He had like an 18-20 truck company, and years ago, he's in his 80s now. He drove like a maniac from Cleveland to Laredo, never stopped, and would get out of the truck and run in to go to the bathroom. But I had a cousin that drove for him for like 2 weeks, and I know he didn't have a CDL. This was years ago. This was in the early 90s, right before they retired and closed the company down. But my cousin had a wreck in Chicago.
Ooh.
No CDL, and I don't know what happened. I really wasn't around him much, But yeah, he didn't. No CDL in a wreck, and I don't ever remember him like going to jail or getting in any trouble.
Probably ran on foot as fast as he could
all the way to Cleveland, right? But trucking was way less safe back then, and I'm actually really glad that we have the things in place we do now because it's made it safer on the road. Speaking of safety, with Ian, but it's made it safer for all of our families. So, just wanted.
I remember back before I got my Class A license, I was driving a truck, hauling block, and the inspector come out where I parked the truck at and was going to give me my road test. I hadn't made it home yet, and he was sitting there waiting on me. And he said, well, when's he going to get here? And they said, well, you'll hear him coming in a few minutes. You'll hear him when he goes to downshift. I pulled up over there in the truck. He signed off my papers. He said, I don't even need to give you a road test. You just need to take it to the DMV and go get your Class A's.
When I first got my driver's license for a truck, we went there, took the truck around the block and parked it. That was it.
Jim got his in a Cracker Jack box, and it was legal back then in 1932.
Yeah, he found a Cracker Jack box license with his face on it, coincidentally.
Well, I can honestly say though, I'm probably the only one here that grandfathered into the CDL
with a chauffeur's license, right?
The chauffeur.
Yes.
Yeah, my dad had one, and he might still have it, but he hasn't drove in 30 years.
I actually was grandfathered in 1991.
Yeah,
nice.
My cousin Primo too.
Yeah, Primo.
My dad was too.
Steve Connor, you've had your CDL for a lot of years, huh?
Probably close to 16.
16, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had mine since 2000.
2000. All right, we got
1 year.
I started a license in 82.
Yeah.
The first year I didn't have a license.
Yeah, you were driving trucks before that, so.
I was across country.
Well,
for the
listen.
first year with my cousin, I never had a license.
Wow.
I believe it because there's so many stories like that. But listen, it's 2-3. Kumar's leading. That's it because he wins. Then we had 5 questions.
Yeah, he won.
Wow.
What was the? We had a tiebreaker question. Let's see if Lee can get that one right since he hasn't got one right yet. What do you got, Joel? What was that last tiebreaker?
I'm blaming on my leadership here.
I'm not sure on this question. On a yellow school bus, what are the 3 black lines down the side for?
Tom sent this question in.
I can answer before you even start. The bottom one is where the feet are of the kids below their feet.
I'm glad because I didn't know what that meant. That is at the bottom. It's D.
Yep.
I worked in a bus garage.
Yeah, Coom, you should know this.
He didn't know.
Well, we were wondering if Coom knew. Tell us the answer though. There's 3 black lines on a yellow school bus. What's the bottom one? It's where the feet are.
Yeah, it's below where the kids are. So if the firemen have to cut the bus, then they don't have to worry about injuring the kids. And then the second one, I believe, is a headrest or is support for the
top
seat
bus.
level.
Yeah. Seat height.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's and exactly what you said. So the first responders know where to. Ian got that right when Tom called and asked today, and then I didn't have any clue. But we thought Kumar would know it because Ian said he worked in a bus garage, and you didn't know it, Kumar?
I am very let down.
No, I might have guessed it if I heard the answer.
I think Kumar should automatically lose and have to pay the
Yeah. What's all the yellow
How
for?
do you work in a school bus garage and not know that?
That's pretty
How do you drive
important.
a truck and not know anything about it?
He doesn't know what goal means.
I didn't talk to the mechanics that much.
That's great. Well, listen, guys, it's been a great show having all our drivers on and having you guys sit in, Lee at the Doty desk and Ray at the Dawson desk. We're not going to mention that to them. They can just see it on the show. And does anybody got anything else?
Go Browns.
Go Cowboys.
I'm really looking forward to the
Tampa
first
Bay.
NFL game. But
Tampa Ray.
Truckworx Kenworth of Dothan, Alabama. Over-the-road apparel, work clothes for the modern-day trucker. Prime Wellness and Performance, San Antonio, Texas. That's Louis Vasquez's place, Super Bowl 50 champion. And we're going to be really excited in about a month from now when the season's underway to have Louie, Ray's cousin, come back on and talk a little bit with us about football and what's going on. So
Houston needs
visit his place. He's got a website. You can check it out. They sell some cool products. It's a really great thing he's got going on. And be sure, if you don't have anything else, to like, subscribe, and comment. And go Browns, go Indians, and go Kevin.